group. They clinched the 1 seed. They are the youngest 1 seed since seeding began in 1984, nearly 2 years younger than any of the other 1 seeds have been in the sport. Again, we're going back 40 years of history here. So SGA and the Thunder, a salute to you. The play-in, the 7-8 game is the Pelicans against the Lakers. The 7 seed has a 5-1 record in that game. The lone 8 seed winner being the Hawks last year, which of course came in the East. The other play-in game out West, a matchup between the 9 seed Kings and the 10 seed Warriors. It's a rematch of a first-round series from last year where the Warriors won in 7. But what that basically is telling you is that Steph and company are going to need to win 2 road games just to get into the playoff field. Here's what it looks like. Again, Thunder and Nuggets will face the 2 teams that come out of there. Timberwolves will take on the Suns. Clippers taking on the Mavericks. So I'm going to say something in duck because I know that it is controversial. And I know that it flies in the face of absolutely everything that the spirit of competition was born to create. And you just said, Herman Edwards, you play to win the game. The Lakers should not play tomorrow night. They should not play LeBron. They should not play AD. They do not want to be the 7 seed. You want to be the 8. I'm taking my chances in a one and done at home against either Sacramento or Golden State and go in against the very young OKC Thunder in round 1 instead of going into the buzzsaw that is Denver. I think it is worth the risk.
Everything you said is right, except for one thing. You put yourself into a one-off situation. Okay, where you lose 1 game, you're going home for the summer if you lose that second night, right? This is different with the Knicks. You're talking about win or lose determines your seeding.
Right.
You still have a best-of-7 series you're about to go play, right? And the better team will win that series. This is different. Like, you lose that game intentionally, you put yourself into a situation where you're playing the winner of the 9-10, and anything could happen. Somebody gets hurt. Somebody gets in foul trouble. D'Angelo Russell goes 1 for 14. Like, there's so many things could happen in 1 game.
Yes.
And you find yourself going home for the summer.
I
think that's a little bit more precarious.
I recognize the risk. But I think life is about assessing risk, reward. Is it worth that risk to avoid playing Denver in round 1 or 2? There's no one who can. Look, the Nuggets are the 1 team the Lakers have no chance to beat. Realistically, no chance to beat. And you know who knows that? LeBron James knows that. They got swept by the Nuggets last year. That is a matchup they are hoping someone else knocks off Denver along the way. To me, Alan, I understand the risk. And if you wind up losing at home Friday night to Sacramento or Golden State, you wind up looking terrible. But I think it is a risk worth taking.
Our good friend Monica McNutt always does retweet, because that's exactly how I felt the minute I saw the way things set up. And you point out that they got swept last year in the Western Conference Finals by them. They don't match up well with them. They haven't beat them in 9 games. This goes back to last season. They just cannot beat this team. So you have to look at it in a way, like you're saying, you take a risk on a game. Well, okay, so you win 1 game to lose the next 4. Or you lose a game to win a game. And if your season ends there, it was going to end anyway. Like, you need the better matchup in this case. And if you think of it about it from a franchise perspective, the Lakers have a better chance to actually advance in the playoffs by avoiding the Denver Nuggets, because then you don't have to see them till later. So for me, you look at the Thunder, and you don't want to disrespect them, but you gave a stat that was incredible, and that is their age.
Yeah.
The fact that they are the youngest, number 1 seed. They have no playoff experience whatsoever, and now they have the weight of expectations as a number 1 seed. That game 1 at home, when LeBron comes in with AD, that's going to have a ton of pressure on it. That's the best case situation.
Have we won you over?
No, there's no debate whether it's in the Lakers.
There's a debate.
No, there's no debate whether this is in the long-term best interest
Is it
of the
worth
Lakers.
the risk to lose the game Tuesday night?
Yeah, it probably is worth the risk.
You don't think you can beat, no matter who it is, whether it's the Warriors or the Kings, you can
well,
beat
obviously they're going to be favoring a game. All I'm saying is,
home.
in a 1-game single elimination event, there's all kinds of stuff that's out of your control as a team. Weird things can happen, and now you're going home for the summer. You didn't even play in the postseason when you had a chance to win a game and at least guarantee you're in a best-of-7. There's no doubt. Look, I certainly don't think they're beating the Denver Nuggets. They'll probably lose that series in 5 games if they play Denver. But to not participate in the postseason at all, if you've got a roster with LeBron James and Anthony Davis, which is the risk you would run getting into a one-off. By the way, maybe that's a Steph Curry. Also, that's an X factor if you're the Lakers playing Steph Curry at home. Maybe Curry goes for 45, 50 in that game and bounces you too. That's a risk also. And now you're not even participating in the postseason.
Now I'm saving LeBron's legs for a 4-game sweep.
Lest anyone be really mad at Alan Hahn and myself, but mostly at Alan, for this take, bear in mind you are in excellent company. For anyone who missed it, over the weekend, Alan Hahn got called out by Ric Flair in what can only be described as the greatest get-up Mad Lib of all time. The legendary Ric Flair called out Alan Hahn for a take on LeBron James. He tweeted, "I'm sorry to report to you, Alan Hahn, that LeBron recorded another triple-double a year after you called him an old man, you stupid." I'm not going to say it. "It's so embarrassing to have you report about sports. When I see you on Get Up or First Take, I turn the TV off. LeBron, triple-double, the Lakers march on. Woo!" So says Ric Flair. What do you say to that, Alan Hahn?
Well, it's funny because, first of all, I was embarrassed when I saw this for him.
No, not for him.
Absolutely for him. First of all, I don't know wrestling that well. I called my friend Peter Rosenberg and I just said, tell me what's going on with Ric Flair. And he said, look, this guy was so famous, so popular, that they said that you could have him and a broom in a match and people want to watch it.
Correct.
If this is where he is in his career, I'm putting my money on the broom. First and foremost. Second of all, speaking of brooms, when we had this take, the Lakers were getting swept by the Denver Nuggets. And oh, by the way, LeBron James talks about being old. No one talks about being old more than LeBron James. So give me a break with this. But I'll tell you what, I'll give him a chance. You want to debate this, you want to get into this part of the world, that's fine. Ric Flair, come on my show today, Bart and Hahn, 12 to 3. You know the number. Bart Scott used to have you back. He's got mine now.
No way.
You want to get into this game? You want this smoke? You call the show. We'll have it out.
No way. No way. No way. I'll tell you what. Ric Flair, call my show and we'll destroy Hahn together. That's what we'll do. I'm on Ric Flair's
side. I see he went full heel.
10 out
full
of 10
heel.
times.
Greeny went full heel.
Absolutely. Okay.
Blowout win over the Pelicans on Sunday after experiencing back spasms stemming from what Davis called a, quote, dangerous play when Larry Nance Jr. pushed him in the back while he was in the air going for a rebound. Davis said there was, quote, no doubt he will be ready to play the Pelicans in the 7-8 play-in game on Tuesday. Davis
in those four matches. Analyst Tim Legler here to break down this play-in. Tim, fantastic to see you. It's the Lakers getting the Pelicans Tuesday night. Okay, considering the winner of this 7-8 gets the Nuggets, who are the West's 2 seed, we never advocate for losing a game, but is it in the best interest for the Lakers to not win this, considering who they're going to go up against if they do?
I mean, I think the answer to that's pretty obvious. Yes, they should. I mean, and I know we don't want to talk about, like, trying to lose games. And the problem with it would be you put yourself in a very precarious situation. If you lose that game, you're now in a one-game single elimination situation where you go home if you lose the second game, and anything can happen in a one-off. But to avoid the Denver Nuggets, yes, that's in everybody's best interest in the Western Conference. And this really played out in a strange way because it looked like the Denver Nuggets here over the last few games, over this last week, were going to be the #1 seed in the Western Conference, and everything was going to fall in line for the Lakers. And if you win the 7-8, you avoid them and potentially avoid them all the way to the conference finals. And lo and behold, everything sort of flip-flopped over the last 48 hours, and now the Lakers find themselves in this situation. So the answer is it in their best interest? It is, but ultimately, you can't let yourself get into a situation where you're playing one game to potentially go home for the summer, which is where they would find themselves if they don't win the 7-8 game.
Okay, understood. They might have a baked-in reason, though, Anthony Davis, the back spasm, if they do need to point something to a loss to the Pelicans. Let's focus on the 7-8 in the East. It's the Sixers, it's the Heat, two teams you could argue going the wrong direction. JoJo missed a ton of time in the regular season, but he's back. He looks pretty healthy, and health is the key point here. How dangerous could Philly be if they can remain healthy through a playoff run?
Yeah, I think they could represent the biggest threat of all in the Eastern Conference to the Boston Celtics. Now, a lot of it's going to depend on Joel Embiid, and, they held him out on Sunday. They said it was just precautionary reasons, and they figured they could beat the Brooklyn Nets without him. But let's see if that's actually the case, because he gave everybody a scare in the game before when he went down, and it looked like it could have been something serious back with that knee again. Assuming he's okay, the way that he has looked here to close out the season since he came back, he is dominant, and more importantly, he is fresh. When you get that many games off, like, you don't have the normal grind on your body that everybody else is feeling. So Embiid is that type of player. He's that dominant that he can now carry you for an extended run in the postseason. And more importantly, he has a co-star next to him that I think gives him tremendous confidence. Tyrese Maxey, I think, is built for this stage. I think he's going to have a huge postseason run. So let's see if Philadelphia can get things going, starting off by beating the Heat and then avoid Boston in that first round, which is critical. JoJo
is fresh. He missed more than half the regular season, 43 regular season games to be exact. The play-in tournament starts Tuesday. It's the Heat and the Sixers, though, playing Wednesday, 7 Eastern. Tim Legler breaking it down this morning on SportsCenter.